Welcome to Blockchain Basics. As we're heading into the New York session, let's quickly look at some of the major currencies and gold. And gold has lost some major levels. Let's see what's next for gold. So we're starting with EU. We'll quickly take a look at the recent price actions. So after the sweep of these levels, price has been coming down with the bearish momentum. We got a change of character after that. Yesterday price pushed into this daily supply and then pushed back down. So looking at the recent price action on the H4, yesterday price mitigated this H4 supply, after that pushed back down, swept these lows, and today we mitigated this H4 supply and you can see that price pushed back down. We swept these lows as well. Now let's quickly see on the H1. So looking at the H1, we can see price is currently bearish. After mitigating this H4 supply, price has just been coming down, and looking for shorts make much better sense. So we can see price pushing back up into the fresh H1 supply over here. Now either price could come from here and just continue to the downside, or we could see a sweep of these highs and then it could make the bearish move to the downside. Now this is a continuation trade and this is an aggressive style of trading, or price could even push back up into this H4 supply and then continue with the bearish momentum to the downside. So currently looking at the bearish momentum on euro, maybe coming into this H1 supply, price could just continue with the bearish momentum to the downside, or it could even push to the upside. So let's see what happens on euro. So let's look at GU now. So looking at the recent price action on the daily time frame, we have this internal breakout structure to the upside. After that, price came into this daily demand. Now if this daily demand has sufficient order, we could see a reaction to the upside from this daily demand. Now let's see this on the H4. So if you have been following my reel, today morning I mentioned that if we get a change of character over here on the H4, we could expect price to push into this H4 supply, but you can see the idea failed. So after the change of character, not a convincing change of character, but just a sweep, we can say this was just a sweep to push lower. So you can see we never got a break above with the candle close to use that as a significant, like a proper change of character. Price swept these highs and then pushed down. So now to expect a continuation of this downtrend, maybe we can expect price to come back into this fresh H4 supply and then continue with the bearish momentum. So we can follow the bearish order flow as long as the supply zones hold, but since we are coming from the daily demand, it's better to be a little cautious, because maybe price could just push up, use this as an inducement, come into this H4 supply, then make the bearish momentum to the downside. So it is valid to look for shorts from here. Just wait for a good solid change of character, not a sweep, but proper candle close change of character, and then you can look for shorts. So on GU, looking at GU, it's currently bearish and we can expect the downtrend. Now let's look at gold. So on the daily time frame, looking at the recent price action on gold, after this change of character, price came back into this daily demand over here. After that, it failed to push to the upside and came back down and swept these lows. So will this demand hold and push price up? Does it have the power to push price up? I'm not sure about it, but let's check it on the H4. So on the H4, you can see that we lost major levels. So after this change of character, price mitigated this H4 demand. After that, we got a change of character, and yesterday price pushed up into this H4 supply and came back down. So there was a fresh demand over here, but that fresh demand failed and you can see price just came down. So I thought this demand would hold, which was the last demand that needed to hold to push price to the upside. Now that failed. Now is this just a sweep that could push price to the upside? I'm not sure about it, but we have a fresh supply over here. Maybe price could come into this and continue with the bearish moment to the downside, or maybe price could come back into this H4 supply and then push towards the downside. So on the H4, this is what I am thinking on gold. We have lost major levels, so I was expecting this H4 demand to hold, but it didn't hold, and we could expect maybe this bearish momentum to continue, take out these lows. So let's quickly see on the H1. So on the H1, we're looking at the recent price action. So over here we have this change of character. After that, price pushed into this H4 supply, and then you can see this H1 demand and H4 demand failed. Price mitigated this unmitigated H1 demand. Morning I mentioned that in my reels, if we get a change of character over here, we can expect price to go to the upside, but you can say the H1 demand failed, the fresh demand failed, the idea also failed, and price just pushed back down in bearish momentum. Now we swept these lows, we can see that the H4 demand also failed. Now whether this is a sweep or it's a major change of character, maybe price wants to go to the downside, I'm not sure about it, but we can see that it swept these lows. We have a fresh H1 supply where maybe price could come and continue with the bearish momentum. to the downside. So there are two key levels where we can expect sells. One is from this H1 supply, the other one is from this H1 supply. Now would this one hold or this one hold? I'm not sure about it, but we can try both the area, looking for short for a continuation for the downtrend. Now even if this level breaks, we can expect that this H4 supply could hold and continue with the bearish momentum to the downside. So if you ask me if I'm bullish on gold, I will only be bullish on gold if this H4 supply fails, because this is still holding price, and you can see we are just following a bearish order flow. This could continue with this momentum. So this is my quick breakdown coming into the New York session. So if you'd like to see more daily market analysis like this, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned.